I have one that I can cap us off with. Where'd you go? There you are. So I was building off the thing I showed a couple weeks ago with the Google Drive connection. First of all, that's now live for our own internal omni.omni. So if you go to your profile page, which is that manage account button, you'll be able to connect yourself to Google Drive. And then as you can see here, I also added Slack. That one is not live in production yet, but hopefully will be soon. But so I can see, subject near and dear to my heart. Subject summarizes about a compliance regime. It'll go search Slack and talk about where this came up. So using the search API or the Slack search API to find relevant conversations, summarizing them. I think there's a lot of, I think with both of these things combined, now we have a lot of interesting additional sort of thinking and work to do about kind of how to make them optimally useful. My hunch is that actually, I think sometimes they'll be useful for just like, hey, tell me about all the conversations in Slack. I think other times it might actually be useful to say like, hey, I want a workflow to search through the legal channel or search through like a deal channel or search through a specific folder in Google Drive and sort of curate it a little bit. So I think there's a lot of like additional kind of follow-on thinking to do here about how to make these most useful.
One small thing, could we add a slash command for the different like services we connect so you could direct something at Slack explicitly or Drive explicitly?
Yeah, now that we've got multiple tools, I've got a PR that's sort of in progress that almost does that. That didn't make the UI was just sort of, I think, is marginally better when you have basically generate query was pretty much the only thing we could do. Now that we've got a wider range of tooling, we absolutely want to have that.
Yeah, I think we should do that. I think it also kind of begs like, Blobby's core system prompt is like, you are an analyst.
Yeah.
And you still want that to be the default, but I think this kind of stretches the boundaries of that. And I think there's a lot of other like, along those lines of like curating a specific folder or a specific like channel for the search. Like you may also want to like curate the system prompt, curate the tools that it uses for a specific situation.
Yeah, so it's sort of like an agent or something. Like I can imagine very easily, going if you build a tool that indexes your like mode, SQL, and we tie it to trips, SQL to model prompt. That could be a model. You're not an analyst, you're a modeler, and you're building this context basically up front. Like all that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think some other stuff too. Like I would love to actually see the search it ran. And so I kind of have an understanding of like how well it's doing. So yeah, there's a lot of, I think, a lot of derivative work here that this opens up, but should be hopefully pretty useful.
I mean, does this sort of mean aspirationally we can become a centralized MCP gateway? Like we can try to be like a simple way to attach to other, like literally anything?
I mean, we've had real asks for folks to connect their own MCP. So like acting as an MCP client, they've got their own MCP server. They want to use like Omni to do, for example, like find all of the invoices that are, 2 weeks expired and then go mark them as in like, needs remediation or something, via their own action. That certainly makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think, regardless of like your views on like one chat interface to rule them all, like you can just add more useful stuff. Like I think there's infinitely many useful things we can add.
First, I have a small question on the manage account page. When you have the connection to the Drive, does that also work for, say, like your sheets? Like when you have your sheets, it's the same. Is that the same?
It searches everything that you have access to in Drive. So sheets, any files. I don't think it can do things with files other than docs, sheets, whatever the heck, slides, and then PDFs it can do stuff with too, or at least
I
think it should be able to. Questionable whether
it's
working right now.
So like if you do like a schedule to sheets or something and you have to connect to Google Drive?
It doesn't. Sorry, what's the question?
So if you, like we have like the scheduler and like your sheets Sheets as like a destination, or you have to connect there? Is that the same, like authentication?
Right now, it's different.
Okay.
And maybe we should bring those all together. The level of access you need for this to work is quite
Oh, that's
invasive,
right.
and
That's
Google
right.
tries to
Okay.
kind of guard it. So I kind of created a whole separate flow to make sure that we don't sort of interfere or block each other.
Okay. No, I was mostly just curious because there was like the question we had when we were building that was like, what if you needed to switch like your Sheets account or something like that? We'd have to have a way to disconnect it. It's not the same thing exactly right now.
Not currently.
Okay.
We could definitely, at least from a UX perspective, we could think about bringing those together, even if we decided that they were like different,
Do different
or
access
like that.
levels or something. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.